Hi, welcome to CAPINC. My name is David Belanger, and today I'm going to show you how to insert a hex bolt into an FDM build so we could have a nice knob here with a threaded rod sticking out of it. We're going to do that using SOLIDWORKS and Insight. So let's get started.
Here I am at the McMaster-Carr website. I really like this website because it has a lot of cool stuff to look at. Gives me good ideas. And what some people don't know is that a lot of the stuff that they have here, they'll allow you to download SOLIDWORKS files of some of the parts here. So I'll show you how to do that today. What we're concerned with is finding a bolt for our knob that we're going to insert this metal bolt inside of. I want to use a hex head screw so that it'll locate it and secure it in place. And I know that from measuring the knob that I have, I want something that's going to be around 1 inch long and use a 1/4 thread, which is pretty common. So when you click on the part number here, you can put in how many packs you want and then press order and put in your information. But over here it has the product detail. You click on that and shows you a nice mechanical drawing of the part. But over here it'll allow you to download a bunch of different versions of this screw and different versions of the drawing. But what we're concerned with is the 3D SOLIDWORKS part here. So we download that and open it in SOLIDWORKS, and this is what we get. Nice looking model. You got to be careful with this and some of the stuff on the website though, because they don't go the full distance when they are designing these things. Because if we look at this closely and I click on, say, this surface and rotate it around, you can kind of see that those aren't threads. It's just a revolve. It's just kind of a cut that goes around in a circle. So you got to be careful of stuff like that. But as far as the dimensions and everything like that, it's really accurate and it looks nice. So if you're assembling them or putting them in your assemblies, it's alright and looks nice. You just don't want to 3D print this because it's not going to thread into something. So we got our bolt there, and we want to put our handle on it, right? So we got our handle there. So now we want to go into our SOLIDWORKS model, and we want to make a cavity inside of here to locate our bolt. So I'll section this. And you can see that I came in here and I made a few cuts measuring the screw and working from the SOLIDWORKS model. I made a little cavity in there for my screw. Right, so now the screw is going to fit inside there and it's going to be located, and it's not going to twist because I got that hex bolt in there, and I'm going to make the hole the same size and have it a nice snug fit. Now with my model that I did, I made the dimensions. I changed the dimensions a few times. I think I built it 3 times before it was nice and kind of snug in there. So I just did a few more things inside of SOLIDWORKS just to kind of show you what we're going to get after here inside Insight. So I have my bolt here. What we want to do, if I was to open just my handle in Insight and put it in there in this orientation, we got to think about how it's going to be inserted into the model down through like that when we're going to put a pause in there. So some other things that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to elevate the model off the table so it has room for that bolt to stick out of it, and we're going to have to modify the support so that it's taller and it allows a hole here for to accept the bolt. So it's going to look something like this. Once we have the support, I drew this in so you can kind of get an idea. The yellow is the support material, and we're going to put a hole inside the support. We're also going to add all the support in there so that that would get something like that to accept the screw. So it's an additive process, so it starts from the bottom of your model and goes up. So it's going to start building model material down here. It's going to start building this hole. The screw's not going to be there. We're going to have to delete the support material that it's going to put in this place, because it would need support material once it gets up here to draw upon it. So we're going to have to delete the support material. And then once it gets up to this last layer here, it's going to start putting this model material on top of this screw. We're going to have to put a pause in there. So when it pauses, the build is going to look something like this without the screw. And so we'll tell the machine we want it to pause before it gets to this last cap layer. We'll open the door, come in with our screw, and we'll just press it right into place. We want to make sure that the screw is below the horizon line of the last layer built, or just flush with it. We don't want the head to crash into it because everything's done in layers. They also recommend that you put a clear acrylic spray on some of the metals. It helps the hot molten material adhere to the metal. Sometimes with shiny metals, the plastic material being extruded has a hard time sticking to it. So if you just use like a clear Krylon acrylic spray, it gives it just that little bit of extra stickiness to start adhering to the metal. So there we have it. And once we're done, it'll start building again, and then we'll have our hex bolt encased inside of our model. Okay, now we will go to the Insight software and show you how to do it in there. Okay, here we are in Insight. I'm just going to open up my model. It's my handle, metal bolt insert. And sure, we'll write over everything. So here I have my STL file. First thing we always do is make sure we have our machine set up right. So I'm using the Fortus 250, and I'm going to print this at the 10,000th layer resolution, and it's ABS material. I'm going to build it solid, so it'll be nice and strong, and then I'm going to use sparse support. Now, the second thing we want to do is think about how we're going to be sticking that bolt into the handle. So we're going to orient our model here. So I'm going to click my orientation tool and select bottom, and just select this surface and face it towards the bottom, because we're going to be sending our bolt through here in this orientation. So what I like to do is I always like to green flag it and see what the software is going to do, because software engineers are pretty good about how they've developed this and what's going to happen with the toolpaths and everything. And so I'll use what they give me and modify it. So now if we look at all the slices, we can see that it's down on the bed here, the platen, and there's no room for the screw, so we need to raise this up and give it room for that screw that's going to be sticking out. So we will go to our Move, Copy, Rotate tool, click on Move by XYZ. I know that bolt sticks out about 660 thousandths of an inch, so I'll just round it up to 0.7, and I'll look at it from the side, and I'll try and select all the layers. I'll even come in and select that one last layer, right? Okay, and we don't want to keep the original because we want to move it up, and so we'll just hit OK. And so now we look at that, and oh, we didn't copy the inside, so let me just grab on that, and we'll just click this again. We'll see it jumps up there. Okay, so now we have this elevated. We need to copy these outside contours for our support down. So I will go to the Copy Through Z tool. Now I know that it always does 10 layers of support material before it starts doing the model. So this is layer 11 that we're on now, which is where we want to copy it to. So I will go ahead and I will go to my Copy Through Z tool, and I'm going to put in 11 here, and I'm going to grab onto that last layer. Now if you look at it from the side, you can see there's a little bit of draft that I've already gone ahead and figured out, and that's going to be, and we're going to draft on the outside of the curve, and that's going to be 0003, and it's, so we're going to copy through the specified Z down to layer 11, and it's going to offset 0.003 every time it goes down. And just click the OK. You can see we stretch that all the way to the bottom. And so now we need to look at the inside of the model here. So if I hit my F5 and I'm looking at it from the top and I'm using my page down and page up, which is the same as these guys over here, but I like this because you hit the page down, hold it, it will zoom right through the whole model. We need to redo the toolpaths. Sorry about that. And now I can see it doesn't have, we look at it from the side or right around layer 36, we go up, there's no hole for that bolt, so that's what we got to create, is the hole for the bolt. So what we could do is, if I right click on the screen, this is where that bolt is going to be, and it's got some support in there. The blue is the support, green is the model. So we come up there, we could see that we got to get rid of that. So I'll find that last cap layer, and we'll set up a range to delete our support. So this will be the top of our range of layers. We'll go down until we see that last blue circle inside of there, and that'll be the bottom of our range. I'll delete the toolpath so it's easier to see what we're doing, and we'll view our range. Right, so you can see the red is always the contour of the model, and the grays and the kind of gold are support contours, or curves is what they call them inside Insight. So I'll set my filters. Oh, first we want to select delete, and I'll select my filter to just select system support curves. I'll click over that and delete that. So now we don't have that support inside of there, right? So now we'll come down to the other shapes we have to copy here. So first we have to copy the circle, right? That center hole. We're going to copy that down one. So we'll go to our copy through Z tool, copy it down one. I'm not going to offset it, but we don't want it to be the same as selected. We want to turn it into support material, so we'll call it support. I'll select that guy and copy it down. So now the next layer we just have that. Right, and so I'm going to come down, and now I'm going to copy this all the way down to our layer 11, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a offset so that let's say like a half a thou, so that it gives it space for that bolt to be inserted into there. We hit OK, and now we can look at that from the side and see that it didn't go. What happened? I guess I didn't. I don't think I selected it. There you go. So you can see a little bit of draft, so it gives some space when I put that bolt in there. It's not going to interfere, but it's going to support the model, and that's what we want. So now, if we look at this, and I do the toolpath for it, that's not going to be very strong, and it's also not going to give us a support face for this model material to draw upon. We always have a support face that creates a nice layer of support for our model to be drawn upon. If I went down to that very bottom layer, you'd probably see that. If we redid the toolpath for all of this, you kind of see the range. So you have your sparse support, and you have some regular support, and then we have the support face right there. So we need to create that way up where our model is going to start being drawn upon, right? Way up here. Okay, so I'm going to delete our toolpath so it's easier to see. So now I'm going to copy our support just down one, right? Because that's the last layer. And I use my page up and page down. That's how I go up and through that. It's pretty easy rather than clicking on this up and down next up. So we're just going to copy this down. 1. So now what we need to do is we need to copy another one of these basically on top of itself, because if I did the toolpath right now, you see it, the way the Insight software works, it looks for inner contours. So it's creating this as, this is say an island or material, and then this is air, and then it's seeing another island. So this would be an island, this would be model material. So what we need to do is create another toolpath there by just offsetting it. So we'll go to our edit, offset, and we want the destination group same as selected. It means it's going to be support, and we want to keep the original, and we just want to basically put a line right on top of itself. So we'll go 0.0001, and we'll say the outside of the curve also. Okay, so now we zoom in there. We have 2 lines, and if we do the toolpath, you can see it now. It creates 2 different zones. So now we have that going. We need to have that going through all the way to the bottom. So again, I will delete this, and I will copy through Z, and I'll specify through Z coordinate, and I'll say that layer 11. We don't want to offset it, and so I'll copy those 2 all the way down. So now if I view all the layers, we can see we have that tower inside there. This will also help us when we're pushing this bolt inside of there and make sure it's not too flimsy. It's going to support it when we're trying to press it in there, because we want to be careful not to move the model around when we're pressing the screw inside of there. Okay, so let's go back to that layer, and what we want to do is we have the model material here. We want to create the support face for the next 2 layers below it, so it has a nice solid surface to draw upon. So I'm going to go into a custom group, and I'm going to say new, and I want to use my template tool down the bottom here and call this support face. And you'll see when I click on the support face, all these parameters will change to the support face parameters. And now it's programmed for support face. So I'll view it from the top, and I will come in and I will select this inner circle, and it looks like it's selecting it all, but you can see that if we zoom in, we can see the other one's not selected, so it's just that inner area. We'll go up 1 and select this one, because we always want to have 2 support faces, and now they're both highlighted, so we want to make sure we add them, and they turn the color of the group. And now we should be able to do the toolpath for our whole job, and we can see we get 2 layers of nice support face before it starts building that model. So we got 1, 2, then it starts going to the other support. We're just going to support model and drafts out, and we got our base. Last thing we need to do is insert the pause. So once it gets up to this last cap layer, where it's going to start drawing on top of that bolt, we want it to pause. So we go up to our toolpaths and insert pause. We select the whole layer and say OK. Now it's a little hard to tell that you put a pause in there, but you can see that it shows it right there. That's your line. And then it's going to ask us to redo the toolpath for the whole thing, so we'll redo the toolpath. And now we're ready to print. So now we just send that to our printer. And it's going to take about 2 hours. Here we have our build paused, ready to accept that hex bolt. Before we insert our hex bolt, they recommend that we spray it with a clear acrylic enamel. This helps the molten material coming out of the head adhere to that shiny surface. We insert our bolt there. Make sure that it's below the horizon line of the last layer built, or flush. And here's our build all finished. We just have to remove the support material. Here's our final part with all the support removed. Removing the support material on this part was fairly easy. I was able to remove it all without having to put it in the bath by just using some of these simple tools. We have little picks that we use, and some needle nose pliers and some cutters. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to go to our CAPINC TV YouTube page to watch any other exciting videos we have out there. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.